me and Amy, all about growing your list with Pinterest. So excited to get to chat with you today. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Shannon. How are you?
I'm so excited you're here and that we get to have this conversation because I feel
I
like it is a hidden mystery.
Mhm.
Like I feel like this is like the best kept secret of how to grow your email list.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Also, I'm excited to be here because one, I've never been on YouTube before, and two, it's a miracle that like technologically, like I was able to figure this out. So,
We're really
yes,
proud of ourselves.
I
It
know.
wasn't easy, y'all. It was not easy for us to figure this out today.
Yeah, but well worth the effort. Do not be fooled because I have this cute little podcast mic behind me that I know what I'm doing because I don't. But fortunately with Pinterest, yes, I do. So you said it's kind of a mystery. It is because I think that we are so accustomed to using Pinterest like as a user and not Pinterest as a business owner. And that is
Yeah.
one of the things that I literally say that over and over and over in every training that I do. And I talk about like, okay, so imagine yourself as the Pinterest user. But when we're learning how to use it to grow our business, we need to have our business hat on. And how are we able to use Pinterest and make pins to go on Pinterest that actually promote our business? So, yeah, I totally understand. It is a little bit of a like mystery. I think it's it's just starting. I really have felt like a big shift. Like even in the last year, people are starting to recognize like, oh, it actually does work. Oh, I actually should use
Does
it.
work.
So yay for me. It's a very exciting time.
Well, and I mean, obviously, I think for so long too, we thought that Pinterest was you kind of had to have a blog, and it's obviously helpful if you do have a blog, but it's not that now I don't know, was it always that way that you kind of did have to have a blog before and now it has changed, or was it always that you didn't really have to have one and we just thought you did?
So I think it's just more like user experience because traditionally, like blogging in itself was just a different kind of setup than what we think of blogging now, too. So
Mm,
you think that there was just this initial burst of like growing on social media, growing on other platforms, right? Everyone was like trying to go on YouTube and vlogging and things like that. And so it was like blogging, blog it, and then pin it. And so that just kind of made sense. And with Pinterest being such an inspirational platform that people show up and they're looking for inspiration, then the blogger aesthetic of what we initially would put people in that blogger category was like, okay, so blog your outfit and blog your clothes. And I just went to an SEO masterclass 2 weeks ago, and the girl was like, just so you know, nobody cares what you have for dinner. It made me laugh so much. I'm like, true, like on your like on your business page, but there's bloggers that have done really well by talking about what they've been having for dinner. So things have changed in the way that people are using Pinterest, the way that people are
yeah.
taking action on Pinterest, and the way that we have learned over time to use the visual search engine piece to drive traffic to your site. So we're not just like, when I'm working with clients, I'm not just trying to get a very viral pin that is going to be like beautiful and aesthetic, and so everyone saves it, because the money is in the outbound click, the money is in them coming to your site, the money is them growing on your list, joining your list, all of those things, right? So I don't just want them to have beautiful pins, I want them to have engaging pins, which is definitely, I do think, has changed over time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so interesting. And I mean, we're data nerds in that regard.
Mhm.
So I find it really fascinating. It might be boring for other people. It does look like we have a few people that are tuning in too. So I just want to say, if you're coming on, we are talking all about Pinterest and growing your list, your email list using Pinterest. So if you have any questions for us specifically about how to use Pinterest or how to use it to grow your email list or email questions, we would love to answer those for you. And I realized too, I kind of didn't really introduce us, but I think most people kind of know us. But just in case, I'm Shannon, aka Mrs. Vondy, aka the Email Queen, and I help business owners use email to grow their businesses. And I feel like you do the same, but for Pinterest, Amy.
Yeah, literally just switch out the names.
Yeah.
Amy for AmyTime, email Pinterest Queen, and I teach people how to use Pinterest to grow their business. And today we get to tell you guys a little bit about how to combine the two, for sure.
Yeah, because we would have to be here for quite some time to tell you everything we know about what to do with growing your list with Pinterest and then what to do with them once you've gotten them on your list.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that often happens too, is that we get so excited to grow our email list, but then we don't know what to do with it after
Mhm.
that. So yeah, so okay, so a couple other questions I had too. So now that we know we don't necessarily have to have a blog to do this.
Yeah.
What is the best way, would you say, for like people to start growing their lists with Pinterest? As far as I know, that's a really big question, but I guess I mean, like, can they just send people to their sign up page? Is that kind of what you typically recommend for people to do?
Yeah, you absolutely can. Here's the thing with Pinterest is that they really care about user experience. And so you need to make sure that they ask for fresh pins, which everyone's like, okay, but what does that actually mean? What does that
Yeah.
actually mean? And one of those factors could contribute to having different URLs. And so we need to be smart about if we are just sending them to the email sign up, that's really only one URL to work with. So how can we be smart about that? How could we create multiple
Mm,
designs so that we have different pin designs? Because typically, right, we think, again, we're thinking about marketing on other platforms. We're like, okay, here's one design. That's it. Hope it works. That's it.
yeah.
Whereas Pinterest, you could create multiple different designs. And with the search engine piece, you could create multiple different combinations of keywords. So that would send each of
Mm,
the designs out to different audiences. And then coming in with the data nerd piece is that we can look back and we can see, okay, well, it was that design that they really loved. Also, with those combination of keywords that they really loved, and that helped you get shown because Pinterest
interesting.
success is not dependent on the amount of followers that you have. Every pin is going to get pushed out to a different audience based on those keywords. And then the actual engagement piece is going to come in through the design, it's a call to action. So if you have a freebie, right, it's not just growing your email list, but if you have a freebie, Pinterest, your Pinterest audience are your DIY audience, right? Like they're on there and they are the original people who always read your blogs, right? Like thinking back to how they've been using it for years. So they are used to being able to get that chicken recipe for free. They're not used to having to sign up for a membership to then get access to then like have to be on all these other things. So if you just appeal to that audience and try and give away a little something. I have a client who's a stylist that's created a number of style guides. We're not giving away the whole thing. We're just going to give away a few. So there's different ways that you could create a freebie from a certain offer that you have, and then create multiple designs for that. And again, vary the keyword strategy to make sure that you're going to reach different audiences. Pinterest takes a while to take off, but in time, when you look back at that data, it's going to be very, very obvious which pins are the most successful, which keywords are getting you the most visibility. And that's the stuff that really matters because I don't know if you found this, but sometimes on other platforms that we're not going to diss, something will go viral and you have no idea why. And for me, it was
Yeah.
because like my grandma was in it, and I'm like, great, I love her, but it's got nothing to do with my business.
Yeah.
Whereas Pinterest, you're specifically going to know what is the reason behind why that has gone viral.
Oh, that's so interesting because I was going to ask you, like, would you recommend testing them separately, right? Like, okay, let's test this design in different keywords and then this design, different keywords, and then change it out. Because in email, we typically want to do one change at a time because we don't always know exactly what it is. So but it sounds like on Pinterest, you can kind of, it'll show you what is working.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. So the way I could compare that to an email list would be how with our email list we could end up putting them in multiple different categories.
Hmm.
So it would make sense to only do one thing at a time because you're not trying to like blow up their inbox and be like,
Yeah.
what's going on, right? If you do too much, then people might not open it and they don't even notice what they're supposed to be
Or
taking
you're
out.
not sure what's working if you do too much too, because it's like, wait, was it this thing or that thing?
Exactly, exactly. Whereas on Pinterest, if you think about like fishing, right? Like every single pin is getting sent out to a totally it's a fresh bait to a totally different, potentially totally different audience. So yeah, you can definitely test the waters. I will
Mhm.
say, it is a very outdated strategy to say that you should be doing the most.
Yeah.
I'm all I should put a little tagline, "Queen of doing the least." That's
Yes. And
why
we
I
talk about this.
That's why I love pictures as well. Because no, I'm not going to tell you that you need to be pinning 10, 15 times a day. That's absolute nonsense. Because then you would not actually know what is working. You can also get flagged for spam and things like that. So I design strategies so that we build it effectively, but also that you know what's actually working.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. And obviously, that when you're testing things in email, you're testing with one audience. You're not testing with a lot of people like you are on Pinterest. So that actually tracks that you
Yeah.
could test multiple things because it's not always going to the exact same people every time.
Yeah, and it can often
Hmm.
be the smallest tweaks, and we're talking about, like, from a design standpoint, it's not just, like, switching out the image from, like, one image to a different image, within, like, your brand assets that you have to work with. It could be the smallest thing about changing the placement of the text. Again, just think
Mm.
about yourself as a Pinterest user. When you're on Pinterest, you're typically, most of the time, you're on your phone and you're scrolling, and those pins are very, very small. So we have to really be careful. My light just went out. We have to really be
You
careful
still look
about.
great.
Oh, okay, good. I don't know if that meant that my entire electricity went out, but we're still here for now. So you can change out the design, but when you change the placement, again, just thinking about how small these pins are initially. So that's
Yeah.
also in the analytics you can get per pin is not just outbound clicks, but pin clicks. So we can see how many times people actually had to tap on that to make sure that it went to full screen. And then from there, which ones we got the most outbound clicks from. There's so much that you can learn from the data.
Oh my God. That actually kind of, because I'm, again, data nerd, I'm like, that actually makes me really excited to be like,
Yeah.
wait, I want to see all this now.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I think that that's something, because I think a lot of people think of Pinterest as a social media platform, but it's not. It's a search engine.
Yeah.
And so many people kind of try and use it. Like you said, they really use it as a user, not thinking of
Yeah.
it as a business owner. And so there's so much that we're all missing out on.
Yeah, sure. And I know that we didn't. I have no limits of what I can talk about here, but I'm just get too excited and I can talk about Pinterest forever.
Please do.
So it's not a social media platform, right? It's a visual search engine, and so we kind of like put it in those categories, and probably on our phone we've organized it into those categories. But your success is not dependent on the amount of followers that you have, which is wonderful news.
So refreshing.
We don't have to worry about that. That also means we don't have to worry about engaging, right? On these other platforms, we're like, okay, I need to engage with these accounts, and then I can pin this, and then I can engage with this. You don't have to worry about that. People don't typically comment. There's no like TMs you have to worry about, anything like that, or posting daily stories. You don't have to worry about getting dressed up and showing up every time. So there's no of that piece. You could schedule out your content on Pinterest itself 1 month at a time, but if you use a third party scheduler, months ahead of time. So again, you're like, it's all taken care of. You're not feeling this pressure that you have to be on there all the time. So that's the wonderful thing about it not really being like a social media thing.
Yeah.
But with the search engine piece, we just had some data come out in the last 2 weeks that people are leaning more towards searching on Pinterest before they search on Google. And I was just telling someone this literally in the last hour. And she goes, well, yeah, it makes sense because these days I don't know what Google's going to tell me. I don't know what it's pulling from. And like, is that even accurate and things like that? And it made so much sense that it's the visual search engine piece, but also Pinterest per user knows so much about us because we are pinning certain things and we are showing like our interests and what design styles we like. And so every time we open up the app, it's getting more and more curated to us. So then
Hmm.
when we do create a new search, we can trust that the app is going to show us results that we really appreciate and that we are typically going to engage with.
That's so, yeah. I mean, that makes total sense. And like, we have all kind of used it for a really long time too, even though maybe not for business, but like I've been on Pinterest since like 2010. I don't know, forever.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we
So
like the algorithm there kind of knows us pretty
yeah,
well.
it's like if I show Shannon anything for her house that's really potentially pink, she was probably gonna get it.
Yeah. If anything's pink, it's probably for me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yet they are yet to find out about my F1 affiliation, but I'm sure it's like a matter of time before that's gonna come up. But
right.
yeah, it's really interesting. We have it's called Pinterest Presents, and it's a free thing for anybody that wants to sign up for it. And it happens once a year. It's typically in the fall. And it's really like a recap on the business and how things are going. People always think that I work for Pinterest and I don't.
It's
But
like
like
a wish.
yeah. But Pinterest Presents typically, like, it's a recap on how things are growing and things like that. But they also showcase brands and businesses that are doing really, really well. And one of the ones that we just had at the last event was JP Morgan Chase, which is a bank. And I got to be honest, they started talking and I was like, what on earth is a bank doing on Pinterest?
Yeah.
Well, they are seeing so much success because they can target their ads to different audiences. Because think about the different life points that people are in when they go on Pinterest. And so they know
House, getting married.
planning the baby, they're planning their vacation, they're planning their
Yep.
renovation, all of those things. And so then we can match the credit card points or the savings plan ad to meet them in that point of their life. So coming back to using it as a business, how can we zoom out and think about how can I meet my client at different points in their
Yep.
journey? How can I meet them where they're at? And sometimes we struggle to do that on other platforms because we fear that we're confusing our audience.
Right.
And we feel like we're stretching ourselves too thin. And it's like, okay, are we serving this person or serving this person? But on Pinterest, you really can reach people at a number of different points. The thing that's interesting when it comes to growing an email list is that your Pinterest audience, because they're not following you, majority of the time have no idea who you are. They just saw the pin, liked it, either saved it or took action on it, but they have no idea who you are, which is like great, but also concerning, which is why you need an email list. You will not believe how many clients that I build a strategy for. And I'm like, where's your email list? Oh, I don't have one. And I very frankly tell them, do you know how hard we're going to work to get you all this traffic? Because you are. You're going to get all this traffic and your site is going to be booming and you're going to have thousands of hits every month. And then they're going to disappear because you have no way to capture them.
Yep. You have no way to capture them and you have no way to build a relationship with them, right?
Exactly.
Because like
Yep.
most likely you're probably sending them to your website if you don't have an email
Yep.
list, right? And they're going to hop on there, look around and then probably bounce because, they've done their thing and then never probably really think of you again.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like if you get them on your email list with a freebie that really aligns with what they're looking for, or just something that really suits what they need in their life at that time, you have so many more opportunities to get in front of them. They're probably not even going to follow you on social from coming to your website either, because
Yep.
you don't necessarily think of that when you're going to a website. But if something pops up and offers you something cool for free, and or if the pin is sending them direct to a website or a
Yep.
email list sign up, then they're probably going to be like. And again, we talked about this too of like it being a free thing is
Mhm.
so good because they're the DIY crowd. They're used to
Yep.
something for
Yep.
free. And again, this is such a beautiful way to build a relationship with
It really is
people.
because here's the thing, right? They do want it for free, but they're also just in general a pretty loyal audience, right? Like
Yeah.
again, back to the blogging experience that they're used to continuing to engage in long form content with a potential business. And so they will sign up to your email list and you can continue to nurture them. But the cool thing about Pinterest users is that their purchasing power is significantly higher than any other platform, and that your average pinner is using it to plan purchases. Like they will make a purchase from Pinterest in the next 6 months. So
Mhm.
there is purchasing power there. Like it's not that we're only going to get free people that only want for free, but that happens across other sites. But what a cool way for people to find out about you. I was just again talking to someone literally an hour ago, and she is in the middle of planning her wedding, and we always are like, oh yeah, Pinterest weddings, like it makes sense. But how does it actually work? Well, she's about to plan her wedding. I'm located in Charleston, and the majority of pins that she's pinning right now of inspirational content on Pinterest are from, like, Italy and Australia, and, like, that's wonderful, like, great, love you got the idea, but
Yeah.
who actually implement it? And so, we have all of these local vendors that they need to be on here because when she's looking for that, then the search engine piece will go, "Yeah, well, here's the Charleston person that's gonna be able to do that for you."
Yeah.
So, for local people, like, that's really important, but, yeah, for those of us that can work with people anywhere, if you can get them on your list and you can maintain that point of contact and whatever things that you have to sell for them and reach out to them, it's truly amazing the potential that you have. And I mean, it's just amazing, right? When someone comes on your list, they've come from you, like, where do they come from? One of my favorite tips, which I'm going to say it anyway,
Do
I was
it.
just say it. One of my favorite tips is set up a unique link, like a unique sign up, so you know that those are the ones that came from Pinterest.
I was gonna suggest that too. So I'm glad you said that because I'm like, yeah, that you we'll get into this more in depth because we know
Yeah.
that this is a deeper conversation. We know it's really needed right now
Yeah.
because social's just not working the way it used to anymore and we're all frustrated. So that's partially why Amy and I are doing this. But like Yes, I think you should be tracking where people are coming from to your
Yeah.
email list and in general, right? Like
Yeah.
if they're coming to your website, any of this stuff. But yes, using a unique link, which you can do through, do you recommend usually doing it through Google Analytics or what do you like using for that kind of thing?
Yeah, I definitely use Google Analytics to track, but like whatever you have on your own personal website to track all of that kind of stuff. But when it comes to actually your email provider, like just make sure that that sign up through that freebie or whatever list building that you're doing, you could create a unique list. Like
That's usually what I do.
I have clients that they have like a business card that they're handing out in person, and that QR code is unique so that they know like that's where that person came from, that it was someone that they personally given the business card to. So just things like that that help
Yeah.
you track. Because sometimes you can be like, oh, they must have come from Pinterest. And it's like, well, did they? Were they on Instagram? Were they on Threads? Were they on YouTube?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, obviously we want to make sure that you're tracking where people are coming from. And I like doing that within the links I use on my website because then I just know.
Yeah.
But sometimes that can get a little out of hand too. And I know that there's more ways to do it with like Google Analytics and things like you can set up custom links and things like
Yeah.
that. So if you're super techy, you can do it that way. If you're a little more like me and Amy and just want to do it a little bit less more simple, I guess, right? Because I feel like that's what we do.
Well,
You can do it through your
even
email
the
provider.
even the big brands that we know, like when you sign up to their email list or you're about to purchase a product from them, what do they tell you? How did you hear about us? Did you hear about
Mhm.
us on Google and
And
TikTok?
you could ask people too when you
Yeah.
collect them. You could
Yeah.
ask like, "Hey, how did you find me?" Which would be great too. But yeah, that's a great point. And I think that that's yeah. I mean, like we want to make sure that you know where people are coming from so that you know what's working and what isn't.
Yeah. Especially because Pinterest takes at least, I say it over and over again, it takes at least 4 to 6 months to really take off. So when you start, I just have a client, she's in her first month and she's like, I just got my first outbound click. And I'm like, please screenshot it. It's always a moment. Like it takes a while, but when it starts, and then the next thing you know, you'll be thousands of hits and you just, you forget about that humble one. But
Yeah.
when it takes about 4 to 6 months to really take off. And so when you're able to track and actually see like little bits of progress, that keeps you motivated because every single time, even myself included, with every client account, I get to like month 5 and I'm like, is this working? Is it gonna work? Is this the one account that's gonna break me? But it's every single time it's the same thing. I have charts over and over again from multiple client accounts. It's a 4 to 6 months and then it really starts to soar. So you do have to stay consistent, which I know with anything in marketing, it's not always enjoyable.
Yes.
But it's
Yes,
worth it.
and I often say that too with email because it's the same that we need to get consistent. It's tricky to know what is working in marketing sometimes, and so it's one of those things that like people will see an email and be like, "Oh, I'm interested in that." And then they may see an ad or they'll see something like maybe see something you post on social or a pin or something like this. And then it kind of starts, if you think about anything you buy, right? Like how many times do you see a commercial
Yep.
and then you're finally like, oh, I think I need that weird counter spray that they keep talking about on that commercial, right? So that's part of the thing. But what's so cool about Pinterest and email is it's something you can really automate pretty easily and that you don't, as Amy has said earlier, you don't have to be sitting there doing it every single day, showing up every single day. You can schedule stuff out and I always say like lazy is actually my superpower. So it's like, how can I do this easier? And I think the two combined is like an amazing superpower.
And it's smarter, right? Like it's not just, we talk about being lazy and doing least, but it really is the smarter way to do it rather than just like constantly throwing things at the wall. A big, big, big piece of my business is really championing and supporting people's mental health. And that is so important in this day and age as business owners. We are doing all the things. And
Yeah.
now we're told we need to be in all the places. And so this really affects how we feel. It affects how we show up. It affects how we continue to market ourselves. If we are posting a certain thing and was like, well, nobody saw it, nobody liked it. And then on these other platforms, it's gone within 24 hours. It's just gone. Whereas the pin, it's not even going to get inputted in that first 24 hours. So you can just detach. And then when you start to see, oh, I need to be patient and wait 4 to 6 months for this to even gain any traction, it really takes that pressure off and that attachment of obsessing over um, instant results and things like that. So you can get back to doing the actual things that make you money.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So I just have like maybe one, maybe two more questions. We'll see, and then we can let people get on with their lives here and learn more about, get to pinning. But one I wanted to ask you was, I know you said you don't want to be posting like 10, 15 times a day. How many do you have a recommended amount of time, or like how many times people should be pinning a day, or like maybe even a week if that's better?
Okay, so my recommendation, especially if you're just getting started, is to just start at once per day. And I know that that sounds even overwhelming in itself. I promise you it is not.
No, that sounds so much easier than what most people tell you.
It is so much easier. I was just teaching in person last week in Charleston, and I had a business owner who's like, "Oh, I've been using Pinterest to grow my business for years." And she's like, "When I first started, I had to be doing 5 to 10 a day. And then that switched into very spam kind of content, and Pinterest was docking her for it." She told me she just pins 4 times a week, which I haven't heard anyone doing that little.
Yeah.
First I heard, but basically, yeah, it's fresh daily pins, although the most recent Pinterest, like from Pinterest itself, education did say weekly. But it really just depends on the quality of that content. Like I said, you're never going to get found or seen if you don't have the keywords to back it up because it is a search engine. So whatever you can do that you can sustain, the biggest thing for the algorithm is that you're consistent. That's why I always recommend once per day. If in time you have the content and you have the ability to increase that, you can certainly level up, but I haven't seen any account that's gone from 1 to 5 a day to see 5 times the amount of growth. So if 1 per day
Okay.
works for you, stick at once per day.
Yeah, and that seems so much easier too, because I know we're supposed to have new pins, right? So
Yeah.
that was kind of my second question for you,
Yep.
is that can we just swap out an image and use, and maybe keywords, right? Would we probably want to do two things when we're using a
Uh,
different, to make it a fresh pin, or maybe I should just ask what makes it a fresh pin.
that's okay. I'm glad, like, you're already trying to piece it together and figure it
Yeah.
out. There are a couple of factors, right? If we're talking about just going for a freebie that we just have like one link to work with, then yeah, I would lean on doing multiple design method and trying to create as many different designs as you can. That's also really fun in the beginning because you learn like what your audience is most interested to. And like I said, we can kind of target different audiences. With Pinterest ads, typically talk about organic marketing, but with Pinterest ads, they just launched a thing last year called Performance Plus, which
Mm,
is basically to toggle your ad so that it would customize using AI, but it would customize so we know that if we're going to show like a lamp, if they're going to show that in my house, they're trying to get me to buy it versus trying to get you to buy it. They know that you and I have very different home styles because they know what we've been pinning. And so they could customize the background. So, how can we take that as a business owner? We could learn from that lesson and we could also create different designs within your brand guidelines. Obviously, I'm not going to start using orange. That's not really my brand color, but still making sure that they know that's an AmyTime pin. But I could definitely use different designs. So that's definitely one way that you could do it to keep up with it. But design, you can use that term like very loosely, right? Like I said, you could put the pin title at the top or the middle, the words. I mean, switch where you're putting the call to action. You could actually use the same image and kind of like edit it in different ways. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to repurpose the same content, but into different ways. Yes, you could do the keywords. You could use the keywords to vary that. But another thing to really utilize is your boards. Your boards are really like your
mm,
house. If your Pinterest profile is like your house, your boards are like different rooms in the house, and so your pins are the decoration in the rooms.
cute.
So
I love that description.
yeah, and I say this all the time. Being British, you could have a three-bedroom townhouse. You could have Buckingham Palace. Let's go for Buckingham Palace. The more boards, better. So there is a way that you could space out putting the pins to different boards, and that would count as fresh.
Oh, that's good to know too. So you could almost have the same design. Like, let's say if you want to, do this for a month, you could have like use the same design three or four times if you did on different boards. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, it's all about timing and not making sure it's all like back to back. But yes,
Like you wouldn't put four on the same board in the
yep,
same day, but if you did it like once a week in a different board or something like that, that might work.
yep. Us Pinterest managers call it the waterfall method.
I love it. Okay, cool. Well, this is fun. This gives me so many ideas. So, yeah. Do we have any other things we want to touch on in this? Because I don't want to keep people all day here, but I feel like this gets us get something to get started. So we want to pin once a day.
Yep.
And we want to have a different pin, but I love the idea that you could use different, like kind of the same one in different boards
Yep.
if you space it out.
Yep.
And then would you say too that like you could maybe reuse the same one on the same board like a month later or a couple months later, or would that be a no-no?
Okay, so the average lifespan of a pin is about 4 months, and so after that 4 month period, you could pin everything is the exact same. The design, the title, the description, the URL, the board, absolutely, literally that whole entire piece of content, repin it to the exact same place, the exact same board within 4 months, after 4 months. And then, yes, that counts as fresh.
Oh, that's so nice because then you don't have to always be creating something new. You could do 4 months worth of content and then
Yep.
recycle.
Yes.
We love that. We could technically do this on social too, y'all, but people don't because they worry about it. But you could.
Yes. And there's one more cool thing that I will drop for is Pinterest trends. So Pinterest trends is our most accurate predictor of trends because it is based on the last 2 years worth of Pinterest searches. And when you look at a Pinterest trends report for certain keywords, then you could predict when you need to be posting those particular things because that's
Mm.
a 4 month trend. That's all I say for now, but um
We have lots more to say
more to
on
come,
all of this.
more to come.
Because we actually want to show you exactly how to do this. We want to walk you through exactly how to set up your pins and your boards, and also so you can actually use this to grow your email list and get people on there. And would you say too, just before I go into this, would you say too that you could technically just send them to growing your email list on all of these pins daily, or would you recommend? I mean, I know if you maybe using different links for it, but could you potentially do that, or would that be kind of a no-no as well?
You absolutely could just do that. And the difference is really coming into like, what is the goal? Like, what is the business goal that we are working towards? And just setting growing your email list as a Pinterest business goal is more than fine. But my joy is in figuring out we have so much more for you to work with that you don't just have to limit yourself to that. But yeah, if that is your only goal, that is more than fine.
And that, I mean, honestly, I think that's probably what a lot of people feel too is like, what do I push them to? Right. Like, cause
Mhm.
you only have so much you're blogging if you're blogging, and some people aren't blogging. So it's like you kind of do get overwhelmed. So it's like, if you just don't know, just send them to your email list.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great option of just like repeat yourself 100 times if you have to. It's fine. I love it. Okay. So, like I said, we really want to help you all be able to do this with your business. Because I imagine if you're here watching this, you are irritated with social media right now, like all of us, of just how frustrating it is to. I mean, even you had said, Amy, like you're like, I want to see your content and I don't. And
I
it's
know.
like, you're like, I love seeing your content and I just literally don't. So
Like,
it's just,
we talk all the time. I
yeah,
like, it just goes, "No, we're not gonna show you her today." And so I was
yeah.
like, maybe she went away. I don't know."
Right? You're like, are you okay? And I'm like my stories are live.
Yeah. "Are you on holiday?"
Exactly. Exactly.
"Oh,
So we want to give you some more sustainable business practices that like you can use how you can use Pinterest to grow your list, but also like use it throughout your business in a really, easy way that doesn't take you away from your business so much and actually pushes the needle in your business. So we have a little masterclass coming for y'all. Grow your list with Pinterest. Amy's going to be teaching you everything you need to know about Pinterest and how to get this set up, how to grow your list with it. Because you said you've seen some like insane results with growing lists with with Pinterest. Of
oh,
course,
yeah. Yep, yep,
I love it.
many times over."
I can't wait to like bring this to my membership too, because they're gonna freak out over this. But yeah, and then I'm gonna show you what to do with them once they're on your list. So once they have gotten onto your list, it's like, yeah, that's great, but like, what do you do with them? How do you get them to, get that no like trust factor, build that up? So I'm gonna be showing you how to do that when they come from Pinterest and how to warm them up, keep yourself top of mind so that anytime they need your offer, they're thinking of you, or they know somebody needs your offer, they're thinking of you, and how to create emails that are actually fun and easy for you to do regularly so that you can just write emails one day a week, one day a month, and you're done for the month. You know what I mean? And same thing with Pinterest.
Yes.
So, if you're interested in that, we are going to be doing that in June. The link is in the description here, so feel free to go ahead and grab that, get inside, and we're going to show you everything we know about
Yeah.
Pinterest and email.
Yep.
And if you have any questions, you can feel free to DM me or Amy, and we'd be happy to chat with you through that. But yeah, anything else we want to add here, Amy? You feel good?
I can't wait. I'm
I
really
know, I can't wait. We're doing this
excited.
in June, and if you can't make it live, there's gonna be a replay, so you can watch it anytime. In fact, I feel like the replay is gonna be the real value because you could just go back to it whenever you're having a moment of like, "Wait, what do I do now?" Or, "Hey, this isn't working. Let me go check it." So, it's gonna be very, very, very helpful and very, very valuable. I'm, like, actually eager to take this myself
Me too.
because
I'm gonna finish teaching and then be like, all right, now I'm ready to take all my notes. And then you'll probably be taking notes and be like, oh, I forgot, I gotta start teaching.
yeah, and we'll probably be like asking like each other questions throughout it too. Like, hang
Yeah.
on, wait, I want to know how do I do this part, and like you'll be the same.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be super fun, and we're excited to hopefully see you there, and hopefully you'll see much more of us talking about Pinterest and email.
Yep. We'll see you there.
Thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks,
Bye.
Amy, and we'll all talk soon.
Yep. Thanks, Shannon.
Bye.
Bye.